Well, hello everybody. I hope that you're all having a much better day than I did. My work day was absolute shit, so I hope it's going much better for all of you. And I hope you're ready for a wonderful talk about the ban list. I do plan to talk about a couple other things. I don't know why I put these headphones in. There's no audio coming through. I'm just so used to putting these in when I'm doing chats that it's just the thing I do. So we're gonna be talking about the bands. I maybe talk about a little bit of history pack here too, and the Blitz decks afterwards. And then at the end of it, as long as the gentleman doesn't want me to not do it, there is a fan made format type thing. It's kind of a multiplayer PvE type like thing he wanted me to look at, so thought I'd maybe show that on stream. Oh, hello, Tall Timmy. Hello, how are you, my friend, Mr. Small Paul? I hope everybody's doing great. I really do. So this ban list, this they went nuclear with this. Like they only hit four things, but boy, does it feel significant. Also, I hope that the stream is going okay. I hope it's not lagging. Let me know if things aren't going well. I've turned the latency down to low because I want to be able to interact with the chat while we're talking about the ban list and all that. I think, though, to start off, I've created a bit of a picture. I had to use my grand Photoshop skills to come up with essentially how I really feel about this ban list. And so we're just going to drag this over. And this, I hope, sums up how I feel about this ban list. Most of all, um, I don't know. Like, listen, I understand that hypothermia is probably realistically more of a problem, but good God, I hate Channel Lake Frigid. I really hate this card. I really, really hate this card, man. It just feels so bad because it almost does what hypothermia does, but it feels even worse because it's like you could do your turn. You could do your things, you just no, you can't because everything costs more. If you want to do one thing, maybe you're fine, but you want to be any other deck that's not Guardian, well, you're basically stuck. I just, man, this card is a big feels bad for me. I know this is probably on a lot of people's radars, but it didn't get hit. However, more ice stuff did. So, I mean, they did a fine job. I mean, they still got rid of some other stuff. So, that's good. But that is my initial thoughts on the ban list. I was really hoping to see Channel. Maybe because hypothermia doesn't hurt me as much. Like, my Dromai deck it's a weird build where it's like, oh, you play hypothermia? Okay. Phantasmaclasm. I was only going to do one thing anyways. But Channel kind of throws a wrench in more things than the hypothermia for me. But I'm just going to get rid of that for now. Let's talk about the actual ban list now, after I quickly look. So you're on the We Make Best bandwagon of CLF where? Yes, I saw their thumbnail. I haven't watched anybody's video on the ban list, by the way. So if I repeat what people are saying, genuinely haven't watched a damn thing. Also, do you guys like the overlay? I made it like 15 minutes ago. I literally was like, oh wait, I should do that. So I hope it's okay. It'll look better. I'll work on it. But streaming again, last one was very enjoyable. Well, thank you, Mr. Timmy. I hope that these are enjoyable. I try to make them as entertaining as possible. That's my main goal. Interact with the chat, be entertaining, give my thoughts. I really want to do this for news, like ban lists and such, because I feel like I don't want to make a video on it just because I don't want to come off as any absolutes because I'm an idiot. Like, the thing is, we get a ban list and nobody knows what's going to happen. So I'd rather have a discussion about it rather than say, oh, this is bad, this is good. I'm just streaming is what I would like to do. I do agree. CLF would have been my ban too. At least you have the options with CLF. Hypothermia just says no option. Hey, stranger. Hello, Dea. How are you, man? And Brent. And I feel like getting rid of CLF almost removes control as an archetype. That's very fair. I do think CLF. My thing with CLF, and I know this doesn't affect Icelander, is it's just like I feel like it shouldn't have go again. Like, I feel like you shouldn't be able to just like I've had my buddy playing his Lexi deck, and he just like here's CLF. Oh, by the way, here's a couple arrows. So if you have defense reactions, you have to pay for them now. And like I understand Lexi's not all that consistent, but it feels like it should be a card that you have to end the turn with. Like you have to do a couple things and then play it. Like if you're really going to control the opponent, being able to just play it and then do everything else that you want to do. I mean, I know Icelander, again, she just plays it from Arsenal and bypasses that. But I almost feel like the go again is if it just didn't have that, it might be a little bit better. But anyways. Hello, Vinny. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. So the actual ban list. Enough chit chat. We have Belittle, Winter's Wail, Amulet of Ice, and Hypothermia are gone. Now, Amulet and Hypothermia are just suspended because of Icelander. Winter's Wail and Belittle is banned. And we will get into their reasoning down here. They do mention that there was just dominance for Oldhim, Icelander, and Fi, which I think Oldhim caught people off guard. I didn't see many people saying Oldhim was going to do that well. I think that I actually lost to 2 Oldhims. One was because I misplayed near the end. Otherwise, I would have won. And I misplayed and let him pop my time snap with an Imperial Warhorn. Kind of forgot it was on the field. And I could have played around it with an ally first and then used my Ghostly Touch, but I made a mistake, so whatever. But I am very interested in this ban list because I had said on Twitter that if they were going to hit one side of the curve of like big aggro, then they had to hit major control as well. Like I didn't want to just see them get rid of, I called Belittle, I didn't call the other 3, but I said if they're going to ban something like Belittle, I want like Channel like Frigid to also go. Like if you're going to hit uber control, you have to hit uber aggro, because it almost felt like the game was getting too polarized, where either you were getting locked out or you were getting run down way too quickly. There was more swingy games than I think people want in Flesh and Blood. People really like those long grindy, you're kind of leveraging for that last point of damage. People like that. They don't like Fi Art of War, go burr 3 turns in a row, you're dead, right? So Winter's Wail. Now, their reasoning is that it is too strong of a one-handed guardian weapon. It's from Tales of Aria, where James has already said 3 months behind on playtesting. They broke a lot of stuff. It's a very broken set. There's probably going to be more in the future that ends up like maybe breaking some more things. We don't know yet. But they didn't like that it was a too strong one-handed weapon that also allowed them to run things like Ramparts and Stalagmite, or the Arcane Lantern, as they mentioned here. I actually kind of agree with this. I've never been too bothered with Winter's Wail, but I kind of understand where, especially when you're looking at Oldhim, he is a very strong hero. He's got huge attacks, got the biggest defense in the game. He can fatigue you out, and on top of that, he's got a one-handed weapon that swings for 4, which is above rate for a lot of heroes, right? And then it can also sometimes threaten frostbites. It's not every time, right? It's cold versus warm hammer, but I do, hearing their reasoning here of just the fact that it's that paired with a shield. If it was a two-handed weapon, maybe even swinging for 5, I think it would be much more reasonable. But the fact that you get to run it with something like Rampart of the Ram's Head, where you can just, Oldhim can pitch for Crown of Seeds and the Ramparts and still float one for something else if he needs it. I do see their reasoning with Winter's Wail. And as someone who's not a huge fan of Oldhim, I'm not opposed to seeing it go. I'm not opposed to seeing it go. I'll be very honest with you. The only reason CLF wasn't hit is because it sells Toa boxes. I don't think lists will change much. Icelander probably fell the most. I do think that the meta game will stay roughly the same. Maybe Icelander goes down a little bit. There'll be a bit of a shake-up. You could argue that Dash is better now because there's less ice to kind of slow her down, and Dash is she's pretty good. Dash is pretty solid right now, so we'll have to see where this goes. I'm happy that Dromai didn't really take a hit, so mind you, Icelander dropping is maybe not the best, but I also should mention here how they mentioned it's important that these strategies remain viable. We do not blame anyone for wanting to play against a few less frostbites for a while. I actually like that, because one of the things about like keeping a healthy meta is you don't want people to not have fun playing your game. And I think control is necessary. It's like, but nobody likes playing against it. Let's be honest. Nobody likes playing against control. It's necessary. It has its place. But if it goes too far, it's not even a question of, oh, is it too powerful? It's just, is it miserable to play against? Because when you're playing game after game after game, and it's just misery, it's going almost to time, and it's just a slog every time. It's not good for the game. Like, ultimately, you could say, oh, it's still fair, it's still balanced, Fi can still, go wide, but people need to have fun. And so I like that they're aware of this, and they're not trying to completely nuke control or ice out of the meta, but they're like, okay, we understand, maybe draw it back a bit. But as we spoke earlier, and we'll get to near the end here, they also went after aggro, which I think is a good thing. Quickly read here. Well, hello, Fabo from Mike. How are you? You want your Amulet of Ice back? I don't want you to have Amulet of Ice back. I'm glad that card's gone. I actually think that card is, for Lexi, I think it's okay, because she kind of needs the extra help. For Icelander, I mean, it is kind of just free, take a card out of your hand. Oh, hello, Andromeda. It's nice that you seem to have made the stream, even though you told me you wouldn't. But I think this list has a lot of good matchups, too, for the aggro decks. Dash lost her best matchup, sadly, if Oldhim takes a huge hit. Maybe. I'll be honest. I just need to stay here. I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm not like the most competitive player. I'm dumb. I don't know as much as probably most people. I don't play as much as most people. I'm good on the YouTube side, stupid on the play side. So take what I have to say with a grain of salt. But I do think that is one thing that is important to pay attention to is one hero taking a hit can mean either good things for some heroes or bad things, because sometimes if that's your good matchup and it's no longer as popular, well, now your deck's going to drop off too. But if it's a bad matchup and it drops, well, now your deck's going to do a little bit better. So even those slight shifts, I don't think this is going to really totally warp and destroy the meta. I think it's going to be pretty similar. Could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to destroy it. I think they're just kind of taking the both extreme ends of control and aggro, and they're like, okay, let's bring it in just a little bit so it's not as extreme. I hope that's what happens. Dash is pretty solid. Seems biased. He wants all the Dash because he's a Dromai player. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do like facing Dash when I can, just fatigue him out. That's pretty fun. But I actually, to be honest, I want Dash to become very popular because I have a bunch of Dash stuff and it's just sitting in a binder and it's like, do I sell this stuff? So maybe if she gets even more popular, maybe I do. Maybe I get rid of my Technical Foundry Heart. I'm kind of adverse to getting rid of legendaries, but at the same time, I wouldn't hate it. Make some money. Okay. While we were at Worlds, I talked to many players. Lots of them felt miserable playing against Oldhim. I think most players will accept a loss if they can at least respond. That's very fair. I think that's very fair. The games that I played against the two Oldhim players were very, very long. They almost went to time before the top 8, and in the top 8, my last game was like an hour and 20 minutes. And I like longer games. I like big brained games where I get to think and really strategize. And I learned a lot in those 3 games. Like I came out of those 3 Oldhim games genuinely a much better player. Like the amount of thinking and processing and planning and playing the long game, it taught me a lot. But it was exhausting. And doing it over and over and over again, the game would become very, very unfun. I'm not saying it needs to be stupid easy, like, oh, if I go burn 5 turns, game's over all the time. But you need that middle ground. And so when games are so long and miserable where you're barely taking in any damage and they're just walling you out and fatiguing you, it does feel pretty miserable. If I'm going to lose, I want to lose in a moderate amount of time, maybe like half an hour, not an hour plus. Like that just feels like crap, especially when it's like you don't really know you're losing until you get really far down, but there's always that hope, and then you just get fatigued out. LOL, speaking as a Lexi player, yeah, the ban list was very well thought out. It was just rubbed the wrong way by a signature weapon ban. Yeah, I can see a signature weapon ban seeming pretty bad. I do think Tails was the big mistake set. Monarch and Tails, those are the 2 most powerful sets. I do think they've brought the power down quite a bit, and I think that's a good thing. I do think that they need to watch out for that. I mean, they're going to break the game again. It's going to happen, especially with a non-rotating game. You can't test every hero against every other hero with every card. Like, it's just impossible. If you look at Yu-Gi-Oh!, it happens a lot. I do think LSS is doing a pretty good job of it. Again, aside from those 2 sets where they really pushed the power level, it really spiked up. And it's funny because I'm now hearing people complain that Dynasty wasn't a strong enough set, but it's like, do you really want, Tales of Aria 2.0? I'd much rather a set that doesn't blow the lid off the pot kind of thing. Voltaire next, ban all Aria M's. I think we should just unban all Aria M's. Give us Wail back and give us Duskblade. Give us our Duskblade back. Let us play with that. We don't need Rosetta Thorn. We need the Duskblade. Viscerai, once Briar goes, bring back the Duskblade so Viscerai can be S tier. Robot Dash players rise up. Honestly, Robot Dash is, I have to admit, one of the coolest decks. The Construct is one of the coolest decks. Imperial Warhorn destroys Dash Max, so we'll see a Warhorn aggro him. Brought power down, but Fi still exists. Yeah, so we will get to the Fi. We will get to the Fi in a little bit. We'll first quickly go back to this. Hypothermia, Amulet of Ice. So, yeah, they're actually mentioning, like, Oldhim was more dominant than Icelander. I think that took me by surprise. I think it took a lot of people by surprise, maybe except for the Oldhim players. One thing to say about it, too, with Oldhim, though, they have, it's been almost 2 years since Tales came out, or like a year and a half or so. So, it's, to be fair, they've had a lot more time to play their deck and perfect the deck, and so that's why I also think that Oldhim did as well, is because you have a lot of good Oldhim players, because they've had the time with the deck. But, obviously, they mentioned that there's nothing scarier to see across the table than a great player behind Waning Moon and an Ice Wizard, and how she has effective game plans into every hero, and bring the deck back to the field with only a single alteration. So they're targeting her best tools for both aggro and control matchups. So hypothermia, it makes her invulnerable. Yeah, like anything that needs go again, anything that needs to do more than one thing is screwed, which is most decks. Like most decks, even something like Dorinthia, this can stop. Like you play it and it's like, oh, okay, I guess. And then they block out your Dawn Blade. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go screw myself. Like I just can't get in. I lose all my counters. End turn. So I do think that hypothermia, when you have to play it normally, is fair. When you can cheat it out on your opponent's turn, give them a frostbite and lock down the rest of their turn, it's too much. It's just an instant end turn, right? And I don't think that's good for any game. Like an instant your turn ends, it's not good. Amulet of Ice. Now this one, for her especially, they I think they say it perfectly, where it gets a perfect opportunity in the late game. There's no deck building cost. You just play it. It's go again, so you don't even have to play it at the end of your turn. And yeah, it's good against aggro and control because it lets you in the late game just rip cards out of their hand at a moment's notice. Whereas I think, isn't it Insidious Chill? Insidious Chill is like a must, so you can kind of force them to do it. You can kind of play around it, where Amulet of Ice, you can't. Like they can do it at any moment when you least need it. A good Icelander player can really mess you up. And so I think that's a very good... Yeah, I think that's a good hit, to be honest, especially with Icelander. Like, it sucks for Lexi. I know some people have talked about banning cards specifically or suspending them just for certain heroes. And as nice as that idea is, I think logistically that is not good because it's just going to become a complete clusterfuck of like, what heroes can use this? Oh, I didn't play this card because I didn't think it was legal. Oh, but it's only this one hero that can use it, but these three can, and it would just be too much of a mistake or not mistake. It would just be too much of a headache. It would be too difficult to keep track of, and it would just make everything a mess. So I kind of like the suspend until the hero is gone type strategy that they have, and they do expect these suspensions to last. So. But they'll check in at the next one. But until she attains Living Legend status. So these cards might be gone for a while. It really does feel bad. I feel like Lexi's really getting the short end of the stick over and over. Like first it was Ball Lightning because of Briar, and now it's, Amulet of Ice because of Icelander. This is classic in a game like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you'll have some like niche rogue deck that keeps getting cards banned from it because they're broken by the new meta decks, and everybody hates it because it's like, oh, this is my rogue deck I've been playing for 2 years and it's not even that good, and this was the best card, and now this other deck breaks it, and it wasn't even made for this other deck, and it breaks it, and now I can't even run my best card. So it does it for Lexi players. I feel for you. Like I like the Amulet of Ice leaving for them. I think they needed it because Lexi's just not that consistent, but it's kind of the way things go sometimes, unfortunately. So before we get to belittle, just going to jump back to chat here for a second. I third the Duskblade. Bolton is sitting pretty. Yes, honestly, I think if you're good at Bolton, I think he can be, combo Bolton. I did get outed by a combo Bolton. I think his only issue is that obviously he's kind of inconsistent. He either goes off or he doesn't. But I think Bolton, especially with less ice, he's, he can catch some people off guard. And he can really, really hit, like he can just take you out of nowhere. Honestly, it was pretty brutal, but we'll see where he goes. I think he's just a little too inconsistent, unfortunately, to really top, a lot. But I think a good Oldhim player can catch a lot of people by surprise, and I would actually love to see him just show up one day and just boom, kill a bunch of people and take off that. It's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I can't change the latency. Okay, well, I hope that it's not too bad. Is the lag too bad for you guys? I really hope it's not. Stutters from time to time. Oh. Am I back? Am I good? I hope it's good. I did switch my Wi-Fi really quick from the one to the other because I got 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. This might work a little bit better, I hope. Hopefully the stuttering's gone. He's back. Okay, it's back. We're good. Okay, that was almost a disaster. I apologize. I live in an apartment building. Also, I have to take this off. It's really warm in this room. Like it gets warm because I have the door closed, and I think let's turn this all the way off. I had it pretty low. The radiator was pretty low, but okay, let's catch back up. After that boomer Wi-Fi, I apologize. I hope it's kind of even from now on. I apologize. I live in an apartment building. Okay, so Spirit of Arena. I mean, Spirit of Arena seems like a pretty solid card, but I do have to agree with Roger here from Manor Podcast. I assume it's Roger. that, yeah, Bolton's, I mean, I think he can catch people by surprise, but he's probably not the best hero. Let's see. Combo Bolton with Raiden Bolton. Raiden Bolton is better than Combo Bolton. I don't even care. I prefer Raiden Bolton. It's just more fun. It just feels more on theme. Combo Bolton is, Raiden Bolton is more tempo, but then it requires a lot more cards in your hand, so it's probably not the best. But open the window. Open what window? Oh, the actual window. Okay, I'm sitting here looking at a computer, so I thought you meant window in the computer. Thanks, Dea. You made me look like an idiot more than I already make myself look. Okay, so now we're going to talk about that Belittle. This is the one that I kind of wanted to see, and it's funny because I actually love Belittle Minnowism in the terms of, and again, I'm gonna call back to Yu-Gi-Oh here. In Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a lot of things that work as 2-card engines, where there's one card that when you play it lets you search out the other and then get to play it, and it lets you make like an Exceed summon or synchro. Like it just lets you get a boss monster basically from the extra deck, and it helps like either meta decks more consistent and helps them do their plays, or usually what's even nicer is it lets a lot of rogue decks have like these more consistent plays to make up for their lack of power. And I've always really liked that about Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have little engines, and sometimes you'll build a Dino deck and you'll have a Shadal engine, or you'll build True King Dinos or just pure Dinos. And so you can have an archetype, or in this case, heroes with different engines and archetypes. And I do want to see Flesh and Blood go into that. However, Belittle Minnowism kind of breaks the fundamental rules of the games, where it just gives you a plus on resources, and being able to just search out a blue to pitch. That felt very powerful, and that's basically what they say here. It's a long-term ban for the health of Flesh and Blood because it's generic and it's just too good for aggro decks to just default as their foundation. So they're saying they want heroes to be unique, and they want to see it as a resource engine. Also diminishes one of the unique elements in deck construction. So yeah, your trade-off between the impact cards and then the cards that make your resources. So being able to just have a more consistent access to blues as well. Like it's the fact that Belittle attacks, and you can use like a tunic trigger for it, and then it attacks, and then you get your blue, and then you get to keep going. It doesn't like make you discard the card. It's just using the card in hand. That's kind of what it felt like. It increase the consistency of a deck like Fi. And Fi is still a very powerful hero, especially with Icelander getting a bit of a nerf. I feel like Fi is going to be fine. He's just going to be a little less consistent. He'll still have his go-off turns with Art of War and Spreading Flames, whatever it is, but he's not going to be as consistent, which I think is kind of necessary, because when you have an Unga Bunga aggro deck, you don't want it to just every turn consistently. I mean, I know Fi doesn't always consistently do it, but I do think that this is good, and I do think it is good for the future health of the game, because like as they say, if they're not planning on adding more of these engines, for instance, it's just going to become the thing that every deck does. So I do think that this is good. And as I said earlier, I like that they went after control and aggro. I did not want to see them do one and leave the other. If they were they could either have left the format or hit both and just kind of bring in the extremes both ways. So that's what it feels like they're aiming here. Now, I like that they talk about Crown of Seeds here. And I think it's clear that they see that Crown of Seeds is a pretty busted card. As we all know, Tales of Aria, busted set. Like, it really is. There's so much stuff in that set that clearly was underplanned and clearly was underdeveloped and undertested. And, they probably knew some of it was strong, but just didn't have enough time to properly correct everything. And so Crown of Seeds feels like one of those cards, but they have basically stated that they do not want to ban it because the bond between a player and the legendary. They don't. Now they say here about like, oh, we all look fondly back to the first legendary we ever opened from a pack, then we use them in our deck, and that is true. They're talking about the new player. I will say I think that's smartly, but it's kind of dressing it up for, oh, the new player opening up a pack. But let's be very honest. I think the more important thing is they don't want to piss off everybody who spends money on this game, right? Your most devoted hardcore fans who will spend the money on legendaries, which is probably most of us, they don't want you to spend the money on a legendary and then it gets banned, because they know that will really hurt a lot of people. They will not like having that happen, and they will lose trust for the game. They will have, a sour taste in their mouth, and it's just not a good look for the game. It's not good for the players. Obviously, new players opening legendaries still counts. It's still important, but I very much think that they're not probably going to mention it, but I think there is also the factor of like they don't want to piss off their most devoted fans by saying, oh yeah, we messed up on this legendary, bye bye, gone. So there is that. But I think we can all agree Crown of Seeds is stupid. I think we can all agree. Like, I don't know if you've ever sat across from it, an Oldhim player goes, pitch a blue, Rampart, Crown of Seeds, tuck my arsenal, draw a card. Like, just the hand fixing, like playing Dromai against it. I mean, I know it's still I guess it's kind of a favored matchup. I kind of struggled because I'd not really faced proper Oldhim decks. Like, my buddy plays, more of an aggro Oldhim, but like the fatigue Oldhims I'd never faced with Dromai before. So I was very underprepared. I think I did okay regardless, but just like I would use Phantasmaclasm, tuck their only popper, and then be like, but they can just crown and maybe get another one. And sure enough, half the time they did, and it was like, oh, okay. So the thing that my card does in order to save me, they Phantasmaclasm tucks a card, they draw one, so you're like, okay, you got one chance to get another popper. But no, Oldhim gets two. And just preventing the damage, cycling through your deck, it really is an uber power. Like, it's a very powerful card. It's a very, very powerful card. And anybody, who's faced it, like, when you're using a card every single turn, when that's your default play every single turn as Oldhim, like, that's what I was seeing is Crown was used like every turn. It's a little strong. Like, when you're using something every single turn, that's pretty strong an effect like that. So I'm not sure if they'll get rid of it. They're probably going to, if they do, they'll probably wait a bit longer until Oldhim is maybe not as popular or he goes. And then maybe they'll be like, okay, hey, Crown isn't in the meta. We admit it's broken. Bye. So we'll have to see. But I do like that they mention it. I think, if I'm being honest, I do think the Winter's Wail is kind of making up for Crown of Seeds. But we will have to see. Because if they make another hero that just Crown of Seeds is super good with, it's probably going to be a problem card. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm an idiot, but anyways, let's see. I think Bolton is good, so your theory seems solid. I mean, open the window, make it cold. It's -1. It is -1. I know it's -1 day. We live in the same city, and I had to deal with snow all day, unburying it from the lumber. Or unburying the lumber from the snow. It was not fun. It was not fun at all. Scraping off lumber with the edge of a hammer handle. Not fun. LOL, Yu-Gi-Oh! Having the flexibility of Fab. No, Fab having the flexibility of Yu-Gi-Oh! Mana with the reverse psychology. I mean, maybe Bolton is actually good and he just doesn't want anybody to play it. Let's see. It should have read Banished Minnowism. You may play it this turn. Yeah. If it just made you play Minnowism instead of having the pitch, that'd be better. Because some people do run the reds. Some people do run red Minnowism, which I think is kind of cool. I know like some Briar decks run it because like it lets you fetch out either your pitch, or if you don't need it or you've already used them, then it also lets you pitch out a power card that can pump up on your next attack. So it has that flexibility. And I think maybe that's kind of what they were aiming for originally, was like, you search a red Minnowism with it, but then everybody just used it for resource, and it's like, okay, and in a deck like Fi, making it more consistent, giving you those over-the-top 6-7 card hand plays kind of thing, especially with Art of Wars. I think that's kind of where it gets broken, when you take a deck that's already going so wide, and then you add on top the consistency of a card or a combo like Belittle Minnowism. I think that's kind of where, listen, I've said it before, I'm okay with them breaking some things. Like, I know some people are like, oh, this game is shit because they're having to ban cards or they're making these mistakes. They don't know what they're doing. And it's like, I'd like to see any of you do better. Like, honestly, so many people I see having, getting upset at things. And it's like, listen, it's not easy to make a game. It's really not easy. And the game is still only a few years old, right? So they will probably, they will get better at playtesting and that with their cards as they go along, because they'll get more experience. Unfortunately, as the game expands, the ability to playtest everything will also go down. Now, Classic Constructed being more limited with Living Legend in that, hopefully there's not too many heroes, and so they can kind of maintain it. But if we get like a Living Legend format, that's going to end up being basically, they're going to have to be like, here's the cards. If you guys break them, we'll deal with them, but we ain't testing for it because we can't. So I think that, the more cards we get, the harder it will be to test, but they will get better. So, I mean, I think it was Brian Gottlieb, I believe is his name, on Twitter. He kind of explained some things. I think he was, let me check. It should be at the top here. Or Gottlieb, sorry. Brian Gottlieb. He had explained that somebody asked him about Starvo, and he's like, yeah, it's going to happen again. Like, it's going to happen. There's no way it's not going to happen. This is what, this is just what happens in games. And I agree. I think I've played games long enough that it's like, listen, you're never going to be perfect. So the best they can do is try and course correct, get a little bit better every time. And hopefully that does it. Also, Briar not going, apparently. It doesn't look like she's going. Maybe now people pick her up a little bit more, but yeah, I guess she's here to stay, unfortunately. Rosetta Thorn is stupid, but it's here to stay for a little bit. And then for Blitz, no changes. They're going to keep Ether Ice Vein because they haven't tested enough. I think, unless I'm wrong, Ether Ice Vein is the one that makes you discard if it hits. I think that this is still fair to go in Blitz. I think Blitz is, especially like with dealing like 5 and then threatening a discard if you don't block at all. I know Blitz is the format where you can run more AB, but this card is just really dumb. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Ether Ice Vein is just really dumb. The forced, discard a pitch is pretty rough. So I'm okay with it being gone in Blitz, especially. I think we'll see this updated probably after, on March 20th. This is after Skirmish. I can't remember exactly when Skirmish is, but I think I could be wrong, but I think it's after Skirmish. By the way, is anybody excited for Skirmish? I am. I'm very excited for Skirmish. I'm ready to play some Blitz, not having a sideboard and just getting to go Unga Bunga with Kasai or Prism. I'm very much looking forward to playing Prism. Okay, let's see. I saw that Bolton in top 8 Saturday at ProQuest. Listen, Bolton I think can get people. I think Bolton has the absolute potential to get people out of nowhere, to absolutely smack them down and get them with that combo. I think that even Raiden Bolton with the tempo, I think people don't know how to play against him if you don't have a way to stop him. I actually think he can do powerful things. The problem that I've always had with Bolton is that he requires literally every card in his hand and sometimes the arsenal as well to even do his turns, because you have to charge, which is going negative on card advantage. And as I said in my Rise Above video, like, going negative on card advantage is very bad. Like, it's just never good. You don't ever want to go negative on your hand. So the fact that Bolton has to do that, now again, you set up for later turns and all that, but like, when you look at a lot of these heroes that are good, what's a hero that sets up like Bolton? Well, Dash would be one, for instance. Maybe Dromai with building board presence, but I think the payoffs for those heroes is way better, and they have way more consistency with lesser cards in their hand than Bolton does. Like, Bolton's 2-card hand is basically, if you have a soul set up, Sea Strike or Celestial Cataclysm, but I'm picking from the Tall Timmy. We're going to call it Sea Strike. Maybe E Strike if you're running that, because it can pump itself. You can do the Go Again. I used to run a couple of those. Or like one charge card for 4 and put a card in Soul, and that's your 2-card hand. Like, that's really not that great, right? And like, E Strike's okay because you can just tuck a card. That one's good. But Celestial Cataclysm requires a Soul setup to even do it. So it's like, he just has very, very weak 2-3-card hands. He requires too many resources. Again, Ice completely shuts him down and shuts him out. And even the combo build is just like, don't die and get the combo before you die. Like, it's just stay alive until you get the combo or die. And that's that deck. Like, it's, so some people can luck out and get it early, or they don't get it. And so that's why I think Bolton is just, he's not going to see a ton of play just yet. But, some people like that. He's like a glass cannon. Okay, let's see. Dea mentioned Joe. Well, Joe's not here, but okay. Bolton is secretly everyone's favorite hero. Listen, in terms of lore and the way he looks, I love Bolton. And I haven't played him in a while. Maybe I'll re-put together a deck just for fun. But I actually really like Bolton as a character. I even don't mind playing the deck. It's just not that good. Let's see. I wonder if they know how many players quit with bans or LL status in the past. I'm sure that some people quit. Like, I'm really, really sure that some people have quit the game because of it. I think that legendaries would kind of put people on edge. I don't think that like just a banning or anything is what people would quit for. I think it's like when you add on a bunch of stuff and it's like the last straw kind of thing. And some people are just emotional. They get mad at one little thing and then they just up and leave and then they come back. And, I don't think anybody's like, I don't think too many people have quit because of bans in that. If you've played any other game, you would know that this stuff is normal. Like, it's an eternal game. And like, again, I've made a video about it before. You look at Magic, you look at Yu-Gi-Oh!, hell, even some of Pokemon's earliest cards, like, there's a lot of broken stuff in the early games. Look at Magic especially. Actually, no, also look at Yu-Gi-Oh! You have all these cards that are like, draw a bunch of cards, get free resources, get, do some crazy stuff, take an extra turn. Like, it's just games. Even looking at Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising, even looking at Sink Below and Fate Foreseen, those cards are nuts, right? Like, those cards are really powerful. Command and Conquer. Which may or may not be tomorrow's video. Those cards are incredibly powerful. And so I think, obviously Tails was a little bit more so, and the cards are more complex and they did a bit more, but I think it's normal for a game to be a little bit rocky at the start, like, as the developers are really learning how to properly develop their game. Like, this stuff takes time. It is not easy. It's very easy for people to sit and complain about it, but it's much harder to actually make a good game. Sloopdoopster, do you think having a seal case of Arc Unlimited is a good hold? Yes, actually. It's going up. I bought a case. Glad I opened my two loose because of two Command and Conquers, an Eye of Ophidia, and an Art of War. But I did buy a case. I actually have 6 cases in my closet now. I just need to get Tales and Dynasty, and then I've got one of every set. So yeah, I do think Arc is, if you're looking to hold on to a set, whether to sell in the future or to, draft for later so you don't have to spend the money, I do think Arc Unlimited is a good idea because it's a very powerful set. You have Command and Conquer, you got Art of War, you got a bunch of the legendaries. I think like Stormstrider's Wizard is just a very strong class. Very hard to pilot, so it's maybe not as played, but Wizard is a very good class. And I even Runeblade, you got the Grasp of the Arknights, and Runeblade's also one that's very good and very popular. I think Arc is a very good set to pick up. I think it's very strong. Okay. Wow. Okay, I am very behind on these comments. Okay, I'm gonna see about catching up. What if Crowns had once per turn action instead? I think it would be useless then if it was an action, only be usable on your turn. It would not be very good. But if it was, yeah, I don't think Crown would even be usable then if it was only on your turn. Hey, watch this whole cooking, while cooking, I assume you mean. I finally went to my local LGS. Unfortunately, they didn't sell singles. Yeah, that is actually a problem. Even my LGS doesn't sell singles, and I don't know if he's going to start opening boxes for it. I wish he would, because I would buy them from him. That's the one downside to the game, is that when the player base isn't as big yet in a lot of areas, a lot of stores won't open up singles. I think they should. I think it would be smarter to do so. I think it would be beneficial if they did that, but, unfortunately, that just seems to be how it is right now. I would encourage stores to start carrying singles and trying to. Why is it? It's telling me now would be a good time to insert ads. Listen, I've already got the little Patreon and channel member thing below. I don't know what more YouTube wants from me. I'm not putting ads in right now. Why would I cut my stream for that? Anyways, hopefully your store can start carrying them. I really wish more LGSs would. If it was an action, you could really use the damage prevention effectively. Yeah, okay, so Elix had mentioned that. Have people seen the type of cards Konami prints for Yu-Gi-Oh? They're absolutely broken. Game has gone on for decades. I expect Fab to be perfect. Yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't want to see this game become Yu-Gi-Oh. That's actually why I'm good with them bringing in Belittle and like the control, like with Hypothermia, where they're going, because Yu-Gi-Oh is very much like you either completely build a board that's unbreakable, or you break that board or stop it, and then you do the same. Like it's either... It's so swingy where it's like there's very little interaction. Most Yu-Gi-Oh games are basically, I make a board, you die, or I break your board, you die. That's basically what Yu-Gi-Oh has become. It's like a do or die game, and I personally don't like it. It's too swingy. It's like sometimes you sit there for 10 minutes watching your opponent make a bunch of plays, and then it's like, oh cool, I lose. I just lost the game. I didn't even get to play. It's kind of how it feels facing Kano sometimes, but at least Kano isn't as consistent, right? Like, that's the thing. If they're going to make decks where it's kind of solitaire and you just die, you don't want them to be super consistent. So, yeah, I don't know. Blitz is also the format. Okay, I'm assuming that's in terms of Blitz. Yeah, I mean, I see Blitz is more fun. I know some people don't like it competitively, but I like that I can play Kasai. I love Valiant Dynamo, and I love being able to play Prism too. I can't choose between them. I really like playing Kasai and Blitz, but I also really want to play Prism because, I mean, I love Prism. So... March 20th is before Skirmish. Oh, okay. So the ban list, they'll update it before Skirmish. That's probably smart. See if there's maybe a bit more Blitz, like maybe Battle Hardens or something. I don't know. I don't pay attention to like every format, everything that's going on in terms of competitive stuff, like the events going on, because like I pay attention to ones that I can actually go to. I'm looking forward to not playing Skirmish. Yes, Dea here in the chat. He's going to be our judge for that, so... I like that some places are doing sealed. Also interested that they're doing rainbow foil new heroes for Skirmish, which means that the new Blitz deck will not have the rainbow foils. Yeah, that actually is true. The new decks might not have them, yeah, if they're not doing cold foils. That's interesting. I actually think that makes... If they're... I didn't think about that. Yeah, if they're going to not put rainbow foils in the Blitz decks, I genuinely feel like I know they're just for new players, but that was part of the reason why I bought them. Like, I'd buy them for the heroes, so if they do not put them in... I mean, that'd be cool if they did, like, different art, or, like, made them a little bit special rainbow foil, like, did a little something else to them, maybe gave them a different border or some other embellishment. That would be cool. Like, it'd be cool if maybe they gave them, like, a Flesh and Blood stamp in the corner, like how Magic does pre-releases. Force of Will had, like, their own big stamp thing. Like, nothing huge or obnoxious, but a cool little stamp for an event like this would maybe be cool to kind of make that promo worth a little bit more. I think that would be kind of cool. Or maybe, like, in the text box, like, a little logo in the background that was, like, just some way to make it different from, like, the regular. Make it more special. Want to play Blitz, but Emperor is still a bit underrated. You know what? I think the Emperor is going to be fine. I think his strong point is that nobody knows if you're going arcane or physical, and you can kind of play around that. The Emperor might be better than we think. I don't know. I'm buying a few because I think he's cool. I own like 3 or 4. I want to play Blitz. Oh, sorry. C Strike, E Strike. You're right, the tall Timmy. C Strike is better than E Strike if it works. When it doesn't work, no, absolutely not. MILB. I'm sorry, Chubberdunkus. You have an amazing name, but I don't know what that means. As Bolton main, you were absolutely right. Timmy, it was good meeting you yesterday at Grimdark Gaming. Okay, well, people. Yeah, people meeting up in person and then seeing each other on stream. That's pretty cool. That's the best part about this game. Okay. We make best video on the ban list. Also goes into why Crown of Seeds is so good under the surface. I learned a lot. Yeah, I do need to sit down and watch some videos. I haven't watched theirs or DM Armada's or anybody else's talking about the ban list, partly because I wanted to talk about it and I didn't want to just repeat what everybody else said and go like, well, they said this, so I'm just going to repeat it. These are my genuine, honest thoughts. So if they're the same, well, maybe I'm smarter than I think. Probably not. My favorite line with Spirit on the field: Bolt of Courage, charge, beacon, search Luma, play at instant speed for action, draw off Bolt, swing Raiden twice, and maybe throw another attack. Yeah, like Bolton can do some strong things. Again, it's just the fact that he always needs his hand to do anything. So it's the kind of the downsides. Let's see. I've never done it, but I've heard people say Arc Draft is the weakest of the sets. I don't think I've ever done Arc Draft either. I'm not really that interested in it. Something about it, it's just like, it just doesn't feel as interesting. I really like Welcome to Wraith Draft, Uprising, but I'm not a draft. I don't really like draft that much personally. I like constructed formats. Cheers. Yeah, okay, that was Timmy. Sloop, my man, appreciate your videos. They've helped me develop huge as a new player. I'm very glad that they happen. That is my main goal. Is I really want to help, especially the newer players, get into this game and have a decent start. With quality content, something that's easy to understand and digest, and really gives you that leaping point to go into the more intense content. So like the Manor podcast, for instance, you would watch after you. Oh, DM Armada's here. Hey man, how you doing? But I want to kind of be that onboard point for a lot of new players, and then they can go on to the more experienced stuff, the people who really know more about the game than I do. Wow, this has already gone on 45 minutes. Wow, okay. Still got time. I'm hoping to be done by about 8, so we still got more than enough time, about 45 minutes. I think I mentioned there is somebody had sent me like their fan-made thing I do want to take a look at after, so I'm just going to try to catch up. There's actually a lot more of you here than usual. This is kind of cool. 41 of you. Wow, okay. Thank you for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Let's see. I love Kasai. Do you think they'll make an adult version? They'll have to make a new one. If you notice that the crew young heroes have epithets to the end of their name, so Kasai, Centauri, Sellsword. If it just said Kasai, then we could expect an adult hero. But because she already has that extra title, that will just be that version of Kasai will stay young. However, because like if you notice, like Katsu, there's Katsu the Wanderer, and then the young Katsu is just Katsu. Same with every other adult and young hero. So we'll probably have to just get a new version of Kasai. Kind of wish they would, though, make an adult, because I really like Kasai, and I think she's super cool. I love her ability to make the second sword attack cost 1 less. Any news about PvE? Official? No. Get the official Viscerai Blitz deck? Yeah, so we'll be talking about the Blitz decks in a moment, now that we've covered the ban list. I do have that here. Let's see. Bill just mentioned they might sell singles soon because the fat population is growing. That's the thing. Is as long as the population is growing, I really hope people start to do the singles selling, because I would buy them. Like even if they're more expensive at my LGS, I would pay more just to support the LGS. Like honest to God, and just to get them, because when they're right there in front of you, it's like, oh, I don't have to wait in the mail. Cool, just give me them right now. I'll pay a couple extra bucks. Do not require a judge. You still should be able to play and take the calls. People have them. Retail fact normally says when you can't play. Oh, okay. Well, that's good information for Daya if he wants to play. Thoughts on the topic of prize support, lack thereof for ProQuest? Seems like a spicy subject matter. I think, if I'm being honest, I do think that stores charging like $40-50 and only using the prize support from LG, like, and all they're doing is running basically the same thing as an armory, just a bigger armory. Like, I understand, I want stores to make money, but it does kind of feel a little crummy when it's like you're not really doing a whole lot more, to your event, and you're charging more and then not adding anything else to it. Especially if they already have the precedent for doing armory packs. My store did offer extra prizing. He threw in like 4 boxes that he gave away as door prizes kind of thing. So he did add, some extra support, and he paid for a judge to come down. So that cut into the cost a bit too. So I think he did a pretty good job there. But I did hear some horror stories. I don't have any personally. For mine, it was pretty okay. But I do think, I just don't, I don't really like the idea of people charging a lot more just because they can and then not offering anything extra. I think if you're going to run a big event like a ProQuest, unless you have to rent a venue or something, I do think it's fair to just throw in a little extra spice. You know, if you got people going, like generate the goodwill, with the crowd and with the player base, and they'll come back for more and they'll be willing to give you more. Like if you give for a little while, you might be taking a loss in the short run, but that usually comes back around, I find. All right. So there's DM. Everybody saying hi to him. Hello, DM Armada. Mr. Steven. Great guy. I haven't watched your video yet. I'm sorry. I will be catching up on some of this content. Bolton needs more combat tricks. Yes. Lumina is basically his main thing. So yes, I agree. Arachne is an example. Arachne Huntsman. Yep. Kasai Blood Flume. Yeah, I hope we get a new version of Kasai. I love the character. Never thought we'd get to draft Benji. Maybe they'll make Kasai. I feel like Benji is the new arcane hero because, like, unblockable. Somebody had mentioned that he makes a lot of yellows playable. So if you're drafting and the Katsu player's taking all the reds, you just get all the yellows. I think that's actually smart. Population is definitely going up. Oh, yeah, the game is growing. The game is absolutely growing. It's even at my LGS, we had a couple new players come in. I feel like stores just need to run player events. Like, I feel like that's one of the problems is that a lot of stores are just doing armories, and it's like you got to run new player events because new players want to learn how to play. Have a welcome event once a month where you get people in, or a free armory even with a welcome event on the side. So like one person judges and helps them with that. I think that could help the game grow even more. You know, it's one of the things I want to do with my YouTube channels. I'm trying to make it like as eye-catching and appealing as possible to get people who don't even play Fab, who might not even know what Fab is, click on a video and then be like, oh shit, like I've never heard of this. This looks cool. I want to try it. So keen for spoiler season. I'm excited for spoiler season 2, hoping I get a spoiler card. I don't know if I will. It's never a guarantee, but helps that I don't have to pay for shipping. TO local. Yes, yeah, buying cards from your LGS, not paying for shipping is why I'm also willing to spend a few extra. So we're doing skirmish entry, free entry. Great. That's awesome. I actually think that's really good. Rented venue. Okay, that's very interesting. Hopefully they sell a lot of product while they're there. I think if somebody is doing an event for free, the least you can do is buy a few packs. If they sell food, get even a bottle of water. Just spend a little bit of money there, give back to the LGS. If they're going to give like a really good benefit to you, give back to them. I think that's very fair. Like I think if somebody's going to extend goodwill to you, you extend goodwill back. That's my philosophy at least. Streamcast your PC. Well, Dea, maybe you just have a shitty PC, but it probably was my stream. I can't wait until Outsiders. It does. I actually, man, I have no interest in a lot of the heroes and Outsiders. I don't play any of the classes. I am interested in Azuri. I think she looks really cool, but I don't think I'm going to end up playing Assassin. But I agree. I am just excited to open new things. I'm actually very excited for the Blitz decks. I think having 6 of them is going to be very fun. I think that's going to make for a perfect environment. Same with these. So we'll get to the Blitz decks now. We're going to move here. Same with like the history pack Blitz decks as well as the outsider ones. All of these new Blitz decks, especially these are going to be more simple. These are going to be great onboard points for new players. I think that with Outsiders release, a really good thing for stores to do is have a Blitz deck event where there's no entry fee. It's basically an armory, but you have to buy a Blitz deck. That is the only thing that you can enter with. So basically a normal event, if they're normally $15, you buy the $15 deck. And you could say, if you don't want to keep the deck, then you just give me the 15 as an entry fee and you'll play this deck and then we'll give it away to somebody else later for free or whatever it may be if you just don't need it. But I think that is a perfect way to get new people into the game. It can be maybe a learn to play just before that with the Ira decks, and then it's like you just get a Blitz deck and that's what you enter with. I hope they're all balanced enough to be used against each other in that way, because I think that would be a great way to get new players in. Precon armories are a thing. Yes, I know they're a thing. I just think that they're not done enough, or at least not around here. I don't see them done enough. I feel like even once a month doing this thing or adding an extra event in a month. Like if you do Fridays, if you can fit one in on like a Saturday afternoon or start something a little bit sooner, because you need ways to get new players in. New players don't like an armory is a bit intimidating. You want something that's super easy and accessible. The easier you make it for new players to get in, the more new players will come in. The idea of branded LGS deck boxes, bring more people to up in your game, especially Blitz decks are relatively cheap. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I think obviously we're getting these Blitz decks maybe a little late, but I do like that they're doing these. I know a lot of people have said before that, oh, welcome to Wraith's gone. How do we teach new players games? We used to do sealed or draft, and that's how we taught new players. Well, now you have these. Now you got these Blitz decks. Very simple to play, I imagine. Hopefully they're just cards. I mean, I assume there'll be cards from the first 3 sets, so you'll probably see Crew and Welcome to Wraith. This will be very interesting. I don't expect any major reprints, but hopefully, same commons and rares. Maybe Dorinthia has a glistening steel blade. Who knows? Maybe that's where they reprint it. But I highly doubt that. But Yeah, I don't know if I don't think these will be rainbow foil, which I think is fine since they're history pack 1. Actually, they'll probably be white bordered now that I think about it. Does it say? Straight out of the box, choose your favorite hero, combat. It doesn't say, but I assume being history pack, they'll be white bordered. So there is that. Also, quickly, history pack 2, black label. This is probably like the nicest pack art I've seen. Like there's just something about the vines up the wall and the old stone wall reaching up. It's very, very nice. If there is full art prism in it, the only issue is that, you know, with Outsiders and like Baltimore and History Pack 2, and when does this come out? February, yeah. The problem I'm having with all this is there's so much going on with Fab for me right now. It's like I'm gonna have to sell cards because my God, it's like Prism's gonna be like $1,000 if there's a full art version. Like, you know, she's gonna be expensive. Even if she's not in the format, I'm hoping that maybe not 1,000, but she's gonna be very expensive. So yeah, history said there are no Marvels. Oh, there's no Marvels. Oh, does not contain Marvels. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Okay, my money is saved. I might just buy like a box or two of it and just open it for fun maybe, but or here and there. Okay, never mind. Never mind. No Marvels. Okay, I'm an idiot. Don't listen to what I say. Don't trust me for anything. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we've covered the bands. We have covered the Blitz decks, History Pack 2, all that stuff, Outsiders, Draft, this extra stuff. If anybody has any questions, leave them in chat. I'll get to them. Ariana, because I know her name, but Andromeda is back. Hello, welcome back. Maybe the Marvels will be prizing or something. That would be super neat. Yeah, I mean, I would love... Maybe they're not doing the Marvels because, like, Chain and Prism are gone, and if Tails is also going to be in this set, like... You know, you could argue that Briar's about to be gone, so maybe they don't want to do the Marvels, have these very expensive cards, like 2 that aren't going to be as expensive because they're not playable. And then... But actually, speaking of that, weren't they for History Pack 2? Weren't they also coming up with Blitz decks? I guess I have to go back here. Weren't they coming out with, like, Blitz decks alongside of, like, other Blitz decks? I saw something. Maybe it's not here, but I saw something about, like... Blitz decks that had Viscerai in it that were coming out with it. I'm not sure where that was, but I know people have been talking about it. Like, oh, there's going to be, I don't know where it is, but like Blitz decks that are also from the other 2. So that's going to be interesting if Viscerai is going to be in a Blitz deck. I did see an image, but now I don't know where it is. So maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I've gone crazy. I probably have. But we'll have to see where that goes. That'll be interesting if it's a new Viscerai because obviously he's banned in Blitz. But again, I think... yeah, that's actually, yeah, because you wouldn't want people to buy a Blitz deck and then not be able to play the hero in actual Blitz. That would be really crappy. Like, for a Blitz, you know, pre-con format, I think people would be fine. And even at Armories, to be honest with you, I think if, like, a new player bought a Viscerai Blitz deck and they sit down and like, oh, that's banned, you can't play that, and it's just that they're literally just playing the pre-con, that's a bit of a dick move. It's like if somebody buys the Chain pre-con and you're like, oh, you have to take out the Seeds of Agony. It's like, who cares? Like, they'll let them play, like, let them know it's banned and maybe help them upgrade, but the deck is not strong. It's a Blitz precon. Let them play the stupid cards. It's not, you're not going to have a problem with it. Oh. All right. History Pack 2 Black Label only going to be available outside the US, or will be US English print. The Black Label will not be in English. The Black Label for these 2 is only going to be in white border. The Black Label is coming out in the other languages because they didn't get regular black bordered sets. Because we have Unlimited and all the other sets are black border from the first release. That's why we're not getting black border History Pack. Let's see. The future, but not anytime soon, is in English. He is indeed there in the old art. Yeah, that's the thing, in the old art. Hey, Asham Wings, how are you doing? Want this back in Blitz, stream. Yeah, the stream is going to stutter a little bit. My Wi-Fi sucks ass. I apologize. I can't really do a whole lot about it. Thoughts on the Banlist management versus the LL system and its relationship to the OP program? That is a very good question, Timmy. Okay. First off, I want to just be very clear. I am not well versed in the OP program. I have participated in 2 Pro Quests. That's pretty much it. So, aside from Armories, I think I think that the Living Legend, I like it best when it's essentially used as a way to not quickly rotate, and I think that's what they're kind of aiming for. They've used it to fix problems like Starvo, but I do like it to be a system where it's it rewards, it basically takes, okay, these heroes have been around for a while. We do need them out of the format. They're very good. They keep getting wins. I wouldn't even be surprised if sometimes they're like, we need a hero out. Okay, let's give them a really busted card that helps this hero. Cool. For like the next couple months, it's the best hero, and then it LLs itself. I wouldn't be surprised if that maybe happens here or there. If there is a problem and they don't want to like ban stuff, they just want that hero gone because it's, the rest of the heroes of the class are fine. Man. I like that they're trying to care about the OP system. I do like that they're trying to do ban lists kind of before big events and give players enough time. Living Legend, I think, should be used as a way to basically, okay, this hero's been around for a while. It's done very well. It's now time to go. I think it being the more natural rotation system is nice. And I do like bans being a way to bring heroes down from a high power level, especially if they're not close to Living Legend. I do believe that they mentioned that somewhere here. Sometimes it's because we messed up. Let's see. Yeah, so what they're saying is like it's the most diverse, but despite there's 3 that dramatically outpace the field in terms of conversion rate and the number of Pro Tour invites secured. So I think that when you have heroes that are dominating, but they're not close to hitting Living Legend, then it's a good idea. Yeah, here it is right here. The 3 are a long way off from attaining Living Legend status. So basically, if they're not close to hitting Living Legend, you don't want them to be miserable. Like you don't want her to be too powerful because the game will be miserable, right? So I do think that it's kind of a necessary evil. I hope that kind of answers your question. Really, I'm not, like, again, I'm not super well versed in the competitive area of the game. So it's kind of hard for me to talk about. I'm mostly just talking out of my ass, but that's most of what I think that's pretty much most of everybody on YouTube. We're just kind of talking out their ass, especially when you're talking bans and all that. We just don't know what's going to happen yet. But I do think LSS has I think that they have the best interests at heart. Like, I really do think they want a fun, balanced game. Like, literally, they say they basically dealt with frostbites because they're just like, we just don't blame everybody. It's miserable. Okay, we get it. We'll hinder it a little bit. Okay, let's see. You like the Living Legend system because you want people to buy a lot of the product. You want to be strong, but not too strong to gain. Yeah, you don't want decks to like become very popular unless it's hated like Starvo. You don't want heroes to come in and out very quickly. People buy their legendaries, they buy their deck, they want to spend time. Like if Dromai was suddenly super powerful with like the next supplemental set gets a few cards that makes her super top tier and she starts rocketing towards Living Legend, I'd be pissed because it's like I spent thousands of dollars buying all the Marvels for her. I don't want her to go anytime soon. I know there's the the Living Legend format, but it's like she's probably not going to be all that good there. And it's like I want to play her. I want to enjoy the cards that I bought. So I like their idea of keeping them around for about a year and a half. Okay. If Assassin gets a lot of support, becomes a tier 1. The price of them will spike. If not, they will go down. The choice is yours. I guess somebody's asking about buying is worth getting in the black techs? Probably worth getting the black techs now. Honestly, if you want to play Assassin, I would get them now before, because the closer it gets to Uprising, even if once like the set doesn't even have to like once it releases, but even a few days before, but especially once it releases and people buy the product, that's when their brains are like, I want the black techs. I pulled a really good Assassin card. I'm building Assassin now. Or I just bought the Blitz deck. I'm building it. So like if you want to play them, get it before the price, because it will go up. Even if it ends up coming down after, we don't know how good Assassin's going to be. It could be really good, could be really bad again. But if you do plan on playing it, I would probably advise picking them up now, but only if you're like, okay, I like Assassin. I like the flavor of the class. Don't care if it's the most broken. I want to play Assassin. Yeah, I do agree this game is better than how Konami manages Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's like, break the format, let it be broken for a while, like intentionally break it to sell packs, let the format be broken, ban a card, and just to rinse and repeat and do the same thing over and over and over again. Just break it, ban, break it, ban, break it, ban. I don't want to see Fab get to that, because that's one of the worst things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's see. Time for Briar to go. I don't even care about Briar. I want the freaking Rosetta gone, man. Like, it should have been an elemental weapon. Outsiders, yeah, I think this is what we'll see. We'll see like a hero get revealed in one set in a supplemental, and then it'll get the support in the next, and then supplemental support. I maybe that's just seeming the pattern that's starting to emerge. We'll see in the next couple supplemental sets if it keeps going. Briar will live on in my heart with the Wail, yeah. Especially Priya Rata Briar. Oh, that was a busted hero. Hell yeah, Harley, you get to the gym. You go to the gym. I didn't go to the gym today. I've hurt the top of my foot. It's getting better, so I think I'm gonna plan to go run tomorrow. And I not only pulled a muscle in my arm 2 days ago, and it's finally getting back to normal, but I also yesterday fell in my saw cleaning it. It's like a big component saw that runs on a giant track, and I just banged my elbow down on that track and like gashed it a bit, bruised it up. It hurt like it hurt quite a lot, like a motherfucker. So I haven't gone to the gym in a couple days, but I'm planning to go back tomorrow. So now that everything's no longer hurting as bad, but you get that you go out there. I have mad respect for anybody who's working on themselves. So bans can have a direct influence on how quickly a hero will collect LL points. It's a complicated system, and player feel bads need to be taken into account, which LSS. Yes, player feel bads, absolutely. Like I was saying with the Crown of Seeds, it's not just the feel bads about the new players. It's also like, and this is why I don't want cards to get reprinted into the ground like Command and Conquer. I don't want them to drop the price from $100 to $5 because it's like anybody who bought the cards is going to feel like crap. Right, so I don't want to see like you have to manage that because humans are emotional beings. You have to manage people's emotions, or they'll hate you for it. Starvo meta was so unenjoyable that this meta feels like a godsend. Yeah, like listen, as miserable as Ice can be to face, and as much as it sucks getting like blown out by Fi every once in a while, or most games, like because I play Dromai, he's my one like really bad matchup. I will say it's probably better than Starvo. I didn't play during Starvo, but the horror stories I heard, I don't want them. I don't want that to happen. It's gonna happen again, and maybe things have to rocket towards LL, or maybe they can catch it earlier now that they have that experience under their belt. They can kind of see it a little earlier and be like, oh, okay, let's ban a card or two, or because there will come a broken hero, and I think. As time goes on, as there's a lot more cards in the meta, because they're not going to be able to test for everything as the game expands. So, it's inevitable. I think what we're seeing right now is that they're suffering from success. It's a very small company. They haven't been able to grow the company alongside the popularity of the game. The game has spiked in popularity quicker than they probably ever anticipated. And so they haven't been able to grow at the same rate. And because there's such a hardcore group of people who care about more than just like it's not just the game, it's the whole meaning behind Flesh and Blood. It's the message of bringing people together. It's probably hard to hire people because you want to make sure they're on the same page as you. You don't want to like just hire people who are good at their job but don't give a shit about the message of the game, because eventually you'll see the deterioration of the company because you'll get too many people that just don't care and the whole mess. So I can understand that they probably want to avoid that as well. And it's I think it's like suffering from success essentially. Let's see. For Starvo, yeah, selling a Coldfoil Black Tech. I'm not buying, so I'm not interested in Assassin. I like closed metas that you can be confident in what you play. It's nice to have everything viable, but it's a pain for deck choice. Yes, I will agree with that. There is downsides to like, your triangle meta of there's 3 decks, but there's also upsides for competitive players. I think for rogue deck builders and for the casual player, it's great. You get to show up and face a bunch of different things, but for competitive players, I think having like 4 or 5 decks that you can be pretty sure will show up, I think that's good for competitive play, but it is more fun to watch a big open meta and for more casual players. Jesus knows Starvo meta was bad. He was around my first pro quest and he was 90% of the field. Yeah, that you don't want. You really don't want. You're a mess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Starvo, again, I actually dodged him because I wasn't playing CC at the time, but spent my money on Hammy and then they went and got thrashed, and went there and got thrashed by him. Yeah, on Hammy. Spent money on Hammy. Who the hell is Hammy? I don't know. Maybe I'm drawing a blank. I don't know what hero Hammy is. Bravo? Oldhim. Oh, okay. Oldhim. Oh, the Winter's Wail. You went... Okay. Got thrashed by him. Oh, okay. You spent money on Oldhim and then got thrashed by Starvo. Yeah. I mean, at least Oldhim's still good. Like, even without the Winter's Wail, I think Oldhim's fine. Like, Winter's Wail was not the most powerful thing. It just was, like, an extra strong thing that he could also do on top of the already powerful things he does. Like, you ever get Oaken Olded? Or, what is the other one? The frickin'... I don't even remember. I try to block Oldhim out of my mind. Like, Oldhim's very strong still, I think. But it remains to be seen. Sometimes I think players never expect to never feel bad, and that makes them hurt more when it happens. Feel bads will happen. Yeah, listen, I've been playing card games since I was 11. Not competitively, very casually, but I've loved card games since I was young. I've been watching Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, even Pokemon I was involved in. I played a bit of Force of Will, now Flesh and Blood. Shit's going to happen. Mistakes are going to be made. Cards are going to get banned. Things are going to happen. You're going to buy a card, and it's going to tank in price or get reprinted. I've had it happen. We've all had it happen. Eventually, you just come to accept it. You just kind of go, okay, this is it. Like, that's it. That's just how the cookie crumbles. You got to expect it with these games. You're never going to have perfection. And the more you can come to terms with that, my thing is as long as a company's not intentionally breaking the game and then banning and then breaking the game, like that's what Konami does, or even Magic, they're intentionally pushing stuff in order to sell packs. I think LSS is genuine in that they are trying to make the best game. If that perception changes and it feels like they're just, they've given up and they just want to break things to sell packs, then it becomes a problem, right? For me, it feels like that intention and how it feels, the intention behind the company. But those History Pack 1s releasing in English. Yes, actually, it did say that the History Pack ones were selling in English. I do believe, I'll double check, but I do believe it did say that they were selling in English there. History Pack Deck 1. Yep. You got, DE, French, IT. Yep, English right here. EN. Yep. So they are coming in English. Oh shit. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's not even all the heroes. Okay. I didn't even realize. Like I scrolled here, I thought it was just the image. I didn't even realize. Oh no, I think I opened up one of the images or something. Oh yeah, I opened up here. I didn't click this. Okay, there we go. There it is. We found the Viscerai. So Dory, Bravo, Reinar, Viscerai Dash, Kano. That's strange. If this is actually like regular Viscerai, very strange that they chose him when he is banned in Blitz. We'll see what that has to do. Maybe it's a different version with similar art. Or maybe they're just doing this as an intro product. Maybe what I expect, actually, these might be very bad, but I don't like the idea of somebody buying one of these and then Viscerai not being playable. They want to actually build the deck just to find out they can't. Maybe there's a new Viscerai coming soon. Maybe he's the new Shadow one. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but it does kind of feel bad if players buy it and then they can't use it. So we'll have to see where that goes. Let's see. Winter's Wail was a problem with Starvo. They suspended Autumn's Touch. Yep. Let me see. Endless Winter. Yes, Endless Winter. Yeah, this is a stupid card. Very stupid card. That's why I called him Goathim. Old Stanky or Old Hammy is Oldhim's nickname in my shop. Yeah, I just call him asshole. Like I just say Oldhim players are the worst. Oldhim players are the assholes of the game. I'm kind of worried now that there might be some people who are like, oh, you got rid of Wail. Well, we can't play the game the way we want to, so let's just bring everybody to time. Oldhim is a hero where with the wrong kind of person, and it's not the hero itself, but it's just like sometimes there's assholes. And the fact that draws in this game both result in both people losing, you're going to have people that are just going to play Oldhim and their only intention is to make everybody go to time. Which the worst part about it is like if you're doing well at the start and then you lose a couple games, then you're then facing like worse players. You're then facing like rogue players, people who are probably a lot newer, and then you're just making their experience miserable. I really hope we don't see too much of that, but it'll, can't stop anybody, but let's see. Starvo's that deck that Timmy buys because it's the best deck, then he sucks at playing it. Can you suck at playing Starvo? I thought, wasn't it just like you basically roll the dice and you either go off or you don't? Can you really suck at playing Starvo? I've never actually played him. I have a full art Starvo, but I never actually played him. Maybe I should build him for the Living Legend format. But I'd have to buy a bunch of Guardian L's. But ding, 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 3 elements. Yep. They chose him for completion of every hero has a deck. That's fair. That's very fair. Yeah, that's very fair. Interesting, though, that we're getting Dory and Oldhim, or Reinar when, we have the old Reinar actually does already have a deck, so. I don't know, I'm not the one making them. Oh, I guess Katsu's getting one. Yeah, never mind. We're getting Katsu and freaking, okay, yeah. I'm dumb. All the MTG players quit playing Fab and Starvo LL'd building. Yeah, that's the thing. I will be honest with you. I think Fab appeals to people who actually want to try. I think MTG, not always, but it does appeal a bit more to people who want, because like MTG decks are basically, the strategy, what cards to play, and it's a matter of getting them all in the field and playing some busted deck that can kind of carry you through a win. There are people who like to be carried to a win, like 5 players. But there's also a lot of people in Fab that do like to actually try, so it's very interesting that they quit when Starvo LL'd rather than before, because I think a lot of people who like Fab for Fab didn't like Starvo because it didn't feel like Fab. Just because he's banned in Blitz doesn't mean you can't get an intro deck to see how he plays. No, that's very fair. That's very fair. I just mean it sucks that if a new player buys it, we're like, oh, I love Viscerai. This is great. I want to like upgrade this Blitz deck. And then they find out they can only play him in CC and not Blitz. That feels kind of bad. I never played my Oldhim to time. Then you're a good Oldhim player. You're a very good Oldhim player. Listen, I understand sometimes the deck, that's just the way games go. I just pick on Oldhim players because I don't like the hero. I don't actually mean it genuinely. I don't want to see like, I think it's perfectly fine to shit on certain decks and heroes and like archetypes of the players that play behind them. I think a little bit of that fun banter is perfectly fine. I don't want to see people actually shitting on people who play decks. I'll call 5 players brainlets, but I don't actually mean it, right? There's a bit of playfulness behind it. I think if you're playing Flesh and Blood, you're probably somewhat intelligent, right? It's a complex game to play, so even Fi, it's more difficult than Pokemon, that's for sure. Played against Oldhim players like that. Yeah, some Oldhim players can be just awful. I would suck at playing Starvo. I have 0% win rate against you. I mean, Dea, like, I play a lot more than you do. If you start grinding, man, like if you just grind, I mean, you play like every card game under the sun, so like it's and you judge, so like you gotta grind out to kick my ass. I'm not talking about the tall Timmy. No, the tall Timmy is I don't even know. Then he sucks at playing it. No. We're talking about the tall Timmy. He's the one who plays Starvo as the best deck and sucks at playing it. Even though I know the tall Timmy is actually a competent player. Slander against 5 players. 5 does take big brain. So much big brain. Oh, you have to draw the Art of War. And then you have to play the Art of War. Very, very intelligent. Art of War is mid. That's got to be the most interesting take I've seen in a while. Many of them said Fab is too hard. Fab is just, it's a complex game to get into. It is very complex. That's what I like about it. I think casual formats are where it's really gonna shine for a lot of people. PvE I think is gonna be really good because it's not gonna matter. It's a bit more simple. Okay, I'm going to quickly. Okay, so Mr. Cherry Tart has not said not to. So we're gonna move into the last part of this live stream. If you only were here for talk about bans and everything, that's perfectly fine. You are free to drop out now. If you want to leave a like before you go, that'd be great. Channel memberships, Patreon, all that stuff. You don't have to give me money or anything, but I appreciate all those that you do or that do. If you want like little, I don't know if I think there's a couple people. If you want like a little logo next to your name, you can join the channel memberships. But we are going to get into a fan-made, I guess it's kind of like a PvE type thing. Somebody had asked me if I'd look at it, and I haven't had the chance to thoroughly look at it. I've taken a quick look, but I asked him if I could look at it on stream, and he said that was fine. So we're gonna explore that a little bit. It looks pretty cool, I will say. So I guess we'll just drag this whole thing over. Should I? Okay, I guess I'll just do this. And we'll bring over here too, but we'll start with this. So it's a thing called like Siege. And it is an unofficial casual multiplayer format. So he doesn't have it out yet. Apparently he doesn't even have like the Discord server set up. You can find him here on the thing, Cherry Tart 0716. If you want to message him about it. I'm assuming it's a guy. I apologize if it's a woman. I guess I'm assuming you're a guy. Could be wrong with me. I apologize if so. But this is, I'm not going to lie. These look pretty cool. A lot of these cards, and there's more to come. I think this is the intro, so we'll go back here. This is, now they're using some Flesh and Blood borders. Like you can see, this is like the Korshem library border. They're not going to be keeping them. These are just kind of placeholders. But this looks kind of cool. I haven't taken a thorough look at it yet, so this is going to be even my first kind of real look here, if you guys are kind of interested in this. So it's a casual multiplayer format. 4 players dive into teams of 2 to fight against each other. Okay, and so you're destroying the opponent's team castle. So it's two-headed giant. Okay, that actually seems cool. That's 2v2. I actually kind of like that because you're still teaming up with somebody. You're doing the teamwork thing, but you're also facing each other. So that's really cool. Blitz decks, young heroes. You got your 11 cards. Considering players use 2 sets of equipment so they can swap in when they die. Okay. So I assume when you die, you get to come back because you're trying to destroy the castle. I will see that. 40 card deck, 2 copies. Yep. Siege follows UPF legality with the exception of things like the Adjudicator, Yorick, Tails, Weaver Tails. Okay, that's kind of fair. It's subject to change as they playtest. So again, this is very new. He just wanted me to look at it, said it was cool to share on stream. I thought it was really cool. Thought we could look at it. And so there's obviously the rule 0. There's a lot of testing. It's not finalized, but just wanted me to see what I thought. Figured it would be really cool to show it. He's apparently going to be doing a Reddit post, so you'll be able to go look at it there eventually. I'm not sure when that's going up. This is all like basically a preview to the preview eventually. Maybe the rule 0, but I kind of understand banning some of these more promo cards because it's very hard to test something like this for those. So the extended structure rules can be found at the end. Okay, so it's 2v2 PvPvE. So it can be expanded to 2v2v2, maybe 3v3 and such. Okay, that would actually be really cool that you could do eventually. First turn of the game rules apply. Each team starts with a castle and other supporting assets that you'll see below. The castles have 40 life. If it goes to 0, your team loses. You can block, but not for the castle, but not teammates. And they respawn after specified time. Okay, so you start with the 40 cards. You reveal your hero. You choose your teams. Oh, this is done at the discretion of the playgroup. We recommend this to be random. Players. Okay, well, I think do random and then sit like next to each other would probably be the thing. So, you'd probably want to choose the random first, or just come up with your teams and swap around. They roll independently. The highest roll chooses to either go first or third. The teammates turn order with the option they do not choose, either first or third. Turn order proceed in an hourglass fashion. So you go first is there, or no, the first player would be here. Second is across. Third is there. Fourth is there. Okay, so you go like you, then across, then back to you, then back to you. Okay. And all players drop their intelligence and begin. So card placement is for display. Recur is not considered to be the arsenal. Soldier is not a weapon. So can I click? Okay, so I guess I have to zoom in on this. Zoom in a little bit. Just like massively zoom in. Hopefully it's not too bad. Oh God. Now it's gonna lag like crazy. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, let's minor scrolls. It's very small. So we've got the barracks, garrison, barricade. Oh, I think this is all okay. This looks to be all the let's zoom back from like 300%. Let's quickly then move over to this. So we have the barracks, comes in with 3 troop counters. You can 1A. So he does have, action. Okay, so there's like 1 action. There's instance. Okay, this will explain everything. So this basically makes soldier allies to the castle, but can be controlled by heroes. So you can basically have little tokens to attack with. Attack for 2, have 1 health. Can only attack the castles and other soldiers. Once per turn, they enter with a sustain. Dealt damage, remove a sustain, and prevent 3. So they basically have to take 4. Proceed, I assume, is go again. They're just trying not to use like game mechanics. The barricades are used to block. Combat ends immediately after the damage step, so they can't be attacked again this turn. They get temper basically. Okay, that's kind of cool. So basically like Spectra, but at least the combat chain does end. Castles, obviously there we go. The art looks really cool. I will admit, like these actually look really good. If you were to print these out or to use make playing cards, these actually look really good. I think that's very nice. Is the polish is there. Garrisons, you can recruit 3 counters, gains 1 block. When you block, remove a recruit counter for each point of damage, wear and tear. Okay, that's again -1. So you can like fortify that. This is the rules, I believe. Nope, that's the rules. What is this? Oh, recur. Teammates shuffle any number of cards from the grid. Okay, so this kind of shuffles everything back. That's really cool art. I wonder if this is like AI art. I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe the person is an artist, but that's really cool. And then Void Blessing. Okay, so just magic damage. Okay, so that's that. There's some cooler stuff later on to look at here. But before I continue, we're going to quickly read the chat. I love the Sloop versus Art of War arc. Oh, fuck. Man, I love Art of War because I have 2 foils and a non-foil, but like sometimes it feels bad. I think Art of War, like, I think it's fine right now, but it is one of those cards that I'm like, it's going to be broken in the future. But I kind of like it for that too, if I'm being honest. We'll see. Sequencing is super important. Yep. It is, but sequencing is also the basics of Flesh and Blood. So like that's why Phi compared to, I mean, even Kano, a local Kano has a math PhD. Like even Kano, most of Kano is just knowing your sequencing, and I imagine that's actually kind of easy to memorize Kano sequencing. It's knowing when to go off and actually being able to implement it in an actual game. I think that's difficult with Kano. It's knowing what to do. If you're just like play testing your own hands, like you can learn the sequencing pretty quickly. It's just a matter of actually being able to do it in an actual game. Big Brain 5 being able to count to 4. Hey, sometimes they have to count to 5. Give them that credit. Andromeda's just trying to defend herself because she plays Phi. Phi has a lot of niche interactions with users of Phoenix Flame that newer players won't see. That is, listen. Phi is a more simple hero, but Flesh and Blood is still a complex game. So when I say Phi's are like players are crayon eaters or whatever, it's still a very complex game. So that it's Phi players are fine. It's just, he is easier than a lot of other heroes, but there's still complexities to it. Count to 5s. Yes, I am a crayon eater. Blue is my favorite flavor. Leave me alone. I like to put them up my nose too and try to pick up my brain a little bit, what little of it's left. I think Fab is pretty simple since it doesn't have nearly as many keywords. The only thing that makes it hard. Okay, so it's different from nearly every other TCG. I think Fab is simple to learn, incredibly difficult to master, like more than other games, because like the more you learn about Fab, the more deep you realize this game goes. I think a big part of it is the fact that you draw up at the end of your turns, and your hands are always based upon, like, your game is based upon what's in your hand rather than what's on your field most of the time, with some small exceptions. But just I find the flow of this game is like it leads to far more complex turns and having to plan because you don't really know what's like coming up and you don't know what the turns are going to be like. And I like that there's a lot of bluffing with things like pummel, for instance, and like attack reactions. I know like other games have like instants and stuff, but I think Fab's actually a pretty complex game, and the more cards we get, the deeper it'll get, the more complex it will get, but it is very easy to learn, which I think is very positive. I think a game that's easy to learn, incredibly difficult to master is quite good, because then you get a game like Pokemon that it's pretty easy to learn and it's fairly easy to master as well. You just kind of play a bunch of cards that let you draw up to full hands, and you try to get your game set up before your opponent, right? So it's more simple. But I think Fab is a more complex game, but it is easy to get into, which is very positive. Okay. After playing for years, I started with Oldhim. Playing Fly is like taking a break. It's nice. So yeah. Again, like sometimes it is nice to just, I think for longer events too, one of the benefits to playing a deck like Fi or even like Dash or Briar, the aggro decks, is that you don't have to make as many complex plays. Like playing a hero like Oldhim or Dromai, you have to think a lot more. And the more games you play, the more exhausting that is. When you have shorter games with less decision making, it really does give you a boost in terms of just your brain power is saved, right? For those more complex plays, you're not exhausting yourself. So I think there is huge value in that. And I have nothing wrong with games ending kind of early too. Like honestly, I would rather lose to an aggro deck than to a control deck that keeps me going for, hours. Sometimes I count to 8 as Fi. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, hey, maybe if we're lucky, the deck gets more complex and you can count to like 10. I mean, technically you're counting like 20 plus with a lot of your ability, your attacks over and over. So, I mean, there's that. I heard the green ones taste the best. No, John, I'm sorry. You might be a Chad, but it's blue. Blue tastes the best. Blue supremacy. Hello, Kafgar. Sorry, Kafgar. Whichever one. How are you doing? They match Prism. Yes, the yellow ones are very good because of matching Prism. Anything that matches Prism is good. I like Assassin so far because you can pivot strong control and aggro. I like Assassin so far because it's literally a free win for Dromai. Like literally a free win. I don't know if Arachne even has the potential to kill Dromai. Like I don't even think it can. Like unless the Dromai player has no idea what they're doing, I don't think Arachne's beating them. But okay. You can only count to 5. I run out of fingers. Yes, there you go, Benjamin. There, exactly. You only have, you just get 2 hands. You got 10 fingers and your toes as well. And if you're a guy, you got that secret 21st. So, and Fi can go up there. So, Okay, coming back to this, which Siege, because I think this is cool. There's some stuff I saw later that I think is really cool. So you have this is explaining what each new word is, like wear and tear is battle worn, sturdy is temper. Okay, so they want to expand the format to introduce landmark and regions. This is where I think it gets really cool, if I'm being honest. This would function as world effects. Let's see. Which they can equitably interact. I hope to potentially introduce thematic art of siege aspects to couple these landmark regions. The working idea is that after players choose their terms, they will shuffle the landmark and together and pick one randomly. The revealed card would activate a world effect. So this reminds me a lot of Plane Chase for Magic if you've ever played that, which is very fun to play, by the way. Makes Commander a lot more fun. You don't want to play a ton of it because it gets a little wacky, but for a game or two, it's great. If you just want to have a couple drinks and have some pizza with the boys and just play a fun as hell game, that's what this kind of reminds me of. And then there's some really cool mechanics. So I would like to include landmarks and regions within Wraith, but that's unlikely due to copyright. However, I can use similar themes. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to monetize this, I think it's a problem. If it's a fan-made thing, maybe not. I'm not sure. I can't give you, now these are just temporary holds, but let's take a quick look. We've got Volcor. Volatile Kingdom, which the hero with the highest life equips Crown of Atrophy, which is this, which you gain an intelligence, but if you receive damage from a source, you receive, it gets that much damage plus 1. And if you have no longer the life total, you unequip it. Okay. And whenever the hero with it is equipped is dealt damage from a source, they instead receive that much plus 1. So you take 3. Okay. If any number of heroes are tied for the highest life, no one currently controls the crown. Each hero tied for the rolls a die. Okay, so it just gets equipped around. You get extra intelligence, but you're now a target. That's actually, again, that's really cool. I need more time to go to the bathroom. Oh yeah, yep. Play Fi to go to the bathroom. That is very fair. Wanting competitive open is very fair. The Monastery, Realm of the Forbidden. Each hero begins with a random rune card. Heroes with the same rune are tethered. Oh, okay, so you're tethered, and at the end of each round, shuffle the runes and distribute them randomly. So if two players are tethered, they receive the same damage dealt and life gained. So that could be good and bad. So if you get tethered, so there's two different runes here. And so if you and your teammate get the same one, then okay, cool. If you gain life, you both gain. But if you and an opponent get one, and you hit that opponent, you're going to gain. So these just add some really cool. This is actually really cool. This is the one that I like the most. Everfest Carnival. Each hero begins with a brew, and at the beginning you put a brew counter. So it's literally a drink that gets counters, and when it has 3, you remove them, and you become drunk. That's freaking awesome. You roll a dice. If you roll 1 to 2, you miss your attack. So if you're drunk, you roll a d6 before each instance of damage. If you roll 1 to 2, you miss and do 0. 3 to 4 is normal damage, and 5 to 6 is double, but half the damage is also done to you rounded up. So you're drunk and stumbling around hurting yourself. That's really cool to me. That's very cool to me. This one is also really cool, and I want to look at some of these. Metric City of Wonder. Each player draws an invention at the start of your turn. They must be used the turn they're drawn. When they are used, they're put into a discard pile. So you have to use them. But look at these. This looks like freaking Kozilek from Magic, and I mean that as a compliment because I love the Eldrazi. So we're going to zoom in a little bit more. Hope to not... Oh, my God. Oh, why is it... I'm not scrolling. Why is it... Oh, okay. Maybe I was touching my touchpad. I don't know. So we got Copper Wings. Destroy it. Your next attack action cannot be blocked. That's really cool. Rocket Skates. You gain an action point. Metrics Monocular. Now, they just say that they have to be used. Must be used the turn they're drawn. So you get to do them differently later. You don't have to do it right at the beginning, which is cool. You draw it at the beginning, but you just have to use this. You can just use it at the end if you don't want it, but like getting an extra action point is very solid. Look at the target opponent's hand and choose a card. They discard it. That seems very strong. Destroy repair bot. Repair a destroyed piece of equipment. That would be awesome. That would be overpowered though, but awesome. Imagine getting your Crown of Providence back and using it twice. That'd be sick. Destroy Gauntlets of Snatching. Draw a card if your next action successfully does damage. Okay, that's really cool. It's instant, so you can do it like after they choose not to block. Now we have Potion of Intellect. To gain an Intellect, you gain 3 life, and your next source of damage deals that much plus 3. Okay, so better Potion of Strength. And then we have Polymelia. Next source of damage is dealt to all opponents. Okay, so that could be kind of cool for Wizard. If your teammate's like gonna die anyways, you can just be like, all right, let's just nuke everything. And then Failed Experiment. Oh god, you lose 7 life. Okay, so there is like one bad one. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. And then there's their thing they don't own. They own the images, but on the cards they don't own all the assets or anything else. That is, I have to be honest. That is really really cool. This seems really cool. Here's all the rules. We'll just kind of quickly go through this. I am looking to end the stream somewhat soon. Only 3 likes on the stream. Come on, guys. I'm seeing right now 26 likes, but yeah, there's 26 people viewing. I know some people are dropping off, which is fair. You know, if you're here for the band, we're looking at somebody's Siege intro rules. Again, Cherry Tart on Discord if you want to go check them out. I will try and put that down there in the description too after this is up. But so if you draw out, you die. I guess that's like, you know, they're still subject to playtesting. Castle's life goes to 0. Your team loses. Yep. So we've already gone over how it's like the hourglass thing where like one player, then it goes across the table diagonally, then back down, then across the table to kind of give your team the right type of play. Pay resources into the castle equipments. So yeah, you can kind of do that. When a player dies, they will respond within a round. So one rotation of the turns from the turn they died, they come back. That's really cool. They act as though they are starting a new game. Because again, you're trying to kill the castle, so that makes sense. Heroes can, you know, and then all the start of the game, so Phoenix Flame and that. They will return with health reduced by 4, where X is the amount of times they... Okay, so their health will be lower each time until, you know, eventually, like, I guess if it's Blitz after 5 times... No, you know, coming back could be very bad if you're playing Kano or, you know, something with only 15 life. Equipment that's been destroyed, and any equipment with temper, they will retain their counters. Okay, but you have to, sometimes you can repair. They may choose to leave their allies on the battlefield. If they choose, they will not be able to attack. They will still be attacked and damaged. Any allies die before they will be shuffled the cards back in the deck. Yeah, okay, so you can leave the allies if you want, but it could give free hits to everybody else, so that's interesting. But if you can protect them somehow, all cards that can be shuffled in your deck must be shuffled. Any tokens, Given to another player by the dead player will remain. Okay, so sorry, I'm getting a little tired here. Frostbites will remain. Player rules do not apply to castles. They function as a hero, so combat chain targets single hero. So you're basically trying to attack the thing. If barracks has no longer a troop, you can't pitch to march. So these are all, I'm not going to obviously go too far into this, but essentially castle ally rules, they don't trigger mask. Okay, that's good to know. So this looks like essentially almost like this, especially looks like this, I think would just be cool to add to a regular game of UPF, if I'm being very honest with you. Like having this, I think is the strongest part. This feels like Plains Chase. This feels really cool. I would print this kind of stuff out and test this in Ultimate Pit Fight. This feels like it would create a really wacky, fun game. Maybe you up people's lives, but so they don't. But this looks actually kind of cool. I think we'll see how it develops. If I can find some time, I'm barely able to keep up with actual Fab formats, but this looks like a really cool fan made thing. Like I said, I'll put the Discord in the description below. But hello Fab Chile. This is Cherry Tart's Siege kind of fan made format. It's an unofficial 2v2 format where you're kind of trying to kill their castle. There's like some extra effects and things on the board that you can use. And they're thinking about adding these like landmarks that add extra effects to the game, which look really cool, especially this one. I love all these items. These look really cool. It'd be so fun to play a really cool, wacky game with them. But we're just kind of looking at it. It looks really good. I will say I love the art. I love the theme of it. We'll see how it goes. If I can find some time, I actually genuinely would probably give this a go. Like this actually does seem pretty fun, to be honest with you. So very good job there, Cherry Tart. I don't know if you've like messaged me on Discord while I'm doing this. I don't know if you're watching. Nope, doesn't look like you have. So again, I'll put the Discord link. I don't know about this, Google Doc thing. I don't know if they're going to want me to put this up, but I will link to the Discord so you can message them. And if you're interested in this, I know they said they want to do a Reddit post and everything. So this is pretty cool. I like this a lot, actually. I really like the art. I think it looks good. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I'm gonna catch up on some of these. Oh, thank you. 4 people liked. You guys are great. Yeah, I like the stream. Give me a boost. I need a boost. My channel needs to become bigger. I'm just kidding. I just appreciate you guys watching and being here. So we're gonna wrap it up quick. Gonna get to chat one more time and probably end it here. So is there a separate place to like the video or separate place to like just the video? I think if you scroll down on the live stream, it should just say like a normal video. Just give it a like and it'll do that. Best hero post ban and why is it Levia? Do we tell Ben? Do we tell Ben? Do we break it to poor Ben? The best hero is Azalea right now, my friend. I'm very sorry. Levia's number 2. But Azalea's just that's even before Outsiders, okay? I know Outsiders is coming, but Levia's number 2. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But maybe in Blitz she'll be better, to be honest. But I think Reinhardt's probably going to be even better in Blitz than any of that. That's actually one of the reasons I don't want to play Prism is just because of Reinhardt. But, I still might just play Prism and Skirmish because I love Prism. Let's see. Daya, we should play this one day. Yeah. If I can get the time to print it out, if I can get a new printer because mine broke and I have to buy a new one. If I can get that, I would probably print this out and give it a go. It actually looks really fun. I do like sometimes sitting down and playing those casual multiplayer formats. That was my favorite thing in Magic. And I think being 2v2, it kind of fixes the Ultimate Pit Fight rules where there's just some shenanigans going on with that. So we'll see where that goes. Let's see. Weird it shows 3 on my end unless I'm looking at the wrong place. It could be because you've had the stream open for a while. I think if you have the stream open for a bit and you hit like for me, it shows me I've got 33 likes on the stream. I think if you just had it open, it doesn't refresh. You'd have to like close the stream, open it back up kind of thing. So for you, it would just show less likes. So let's see. He's gone over the ban list and history pack for the most part. Now this is PV playtest material. Oh, you're just answering. Okay, yeah. Seems super neat. I love the metrics one. Yeah, honestly, like I really, really enjoyed that. And very nice artwork, yes. So I'll put the guy's Discord link in the description so you can check at it. I don't have it there right now. I don't think I can add it just yet. So unfortunately, I will have to do that after. But I absolutely will add that. So you can message them and see about getting it. Hopefully it does a Discord thing, and so you can join a server and put it on Reddit so people can download it and do it. I think it's really good to do playtesting because it's probably it's like the Overload engine. When I helped them with that, there was a lot of playtesting that went into that. I just don't have as much time anymore. So much of my time is consumed with my channel now. But yeah, A lot of effort went into it. I'd pay for it. He's not sure if he wants to monetize it, which I think that'd be cool. If you could print off, like use a site like Make Playing Cards and print off your own set of cards and sell them to people, just would not be able to use any actual Flesh and Blood assets, which is why he's trying to use like other words and art and borders and that, which is very fair because you just can't. So I have a printer. Well, then print them out, Dea. You send them a message on Discord and get them printed out. I went with an aura build and won my armory thinking I would just go 2-2. Hey, that's awesome, man. Like, that's really good. Prism is very strong. Like, honestly, Prism is very strong even in Blitz. The aura build is great. I think Rhinar is very powerful because Rhinar can just catch you out of nowhere. And Blood Rush Bellows is, oh my goodness. I think Rhinar is very strong in Blitz, if I'm being honest. I think he's one of the strongest heroes in Blitz, but it remains to be seen. I haven't played Blitz in a little bit. I'm very excited to get back into it. I do like how it's just like, yeah, it's a swingier format, but I kind of do. It's like playing Fi. I kind of like where it's like, oh, okay, there's not going to be these super long, grindy, obnoxious games in Blitz. It's like I get to play like Kasai or Prism or something and then just kind of either go burr or die. So, anyways, Chads, all of you, including Andromeda. You're a female Chad right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hearing my idiotic thoughts on the ban list. Thank you for all the likes and for participating. It's been an absolutely wonderful time. I will be doing this more. I will read this. Yeah, the Intimidate mechanic screws a lot of your aura games. I beat Rhinar in the finals. That's awesome, man. Chadis. Yeah, Chads and Chadesses. Fem Trad Chad. Yes. Andromeda is a bit traditional, and that's pretty cool. But yes, thank you for being here. This has been a fantastic stream. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will be back hopefully next week. I want to try to do this possibly weekly if I can find the time. There's no set time. It's just whenever I've got a day and I've got something to talk about. So might be bi-weekly, but I really enjoy doing these. I like interacting with all of you. So I hope you all have an excellent evening, day, morning, whatever time it is where you are in the world, because this game is global. Have an excellent, wonderful time. Appreciate you all. Bye-bye.